welcome to the stage, it's Joe! Oh, yes, good evening, hello, kids! Hello in the middle! Hello over this side, give us a wave! Over this side, give us a wave, lovely to see you all! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give me a cheer if you're still here! Let's see what it does, boys! I can't explain all the feelings that are making me feel. I'm a horse in overdrive and you're behind the steering wheel.
Hello and welcome to the showcase. It's always nice to have a pleasure of joining us on the showcase, and today we have another special guest. Remember to watch the showcase all the way through and press the thumbs up and the like and the subscribe, and of course share between your friends. Hello to Joe. Hello, Joe.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for coming on the show, Joe. Do you want to tell the viewers what you do?
Yes, so I'm a I'm a variety comedian. That's what I do. I do the Joe Show, but I'm also a pantomime dame. I do a one-person pantomime dame show all year round as well, as part of my cabaret circuit. And then, of course, at Christmas, I do pantomime. That's pretty much what I do and what I have been doing for the past few years. Obviously, I did a few things before I got to this point, but now I can comfortably say I'm a comedy. Hang on, what is it? Variety comedy act, that's the one, and a children's entertainment.
That's unusual. Wow. So how did you get into that, Joe? Because it's not an easy field to get into.
No, not at all. And that's what I'm saying when I said, like, I've just sort of got into it now, sort of thing, like I'd say last 3 or 4 years, really. So I started off actually, if we go right back, I started off at university at 19. I did a drama degree at the University of Northampton. Oddly, trained as a drama teacher at Central School of Speech and Drama. Wasn't a very good teacher. Didn't enjoy it, so didn't pursue it. Qualified, but didn't pursue it at all. Actually, no, I didn't do my NQT year. That'll mean saying to teachers out there. But I did the PGC, and then I thought, no, this isn't for me. So then I went on to the holiday parks as an entertainer, as part of a team. I started off at Craig Tower in Scotland. Did 2 seasons there. I did my first season as presenter. This is all when I was 24 as well. So I still, compared to most people, got into it quite late, because most people start 18 on the holiday park. So I started at 24. So started Craig Tower in Ayr in Scotland. I had 2 great years there. First season presenter, second season team leader. Then my third season, I became an entertainment manager and went down to Burnham-on-Sea in Somerset. I was there for about 2.5 years. And then I finished off on the parks, up on a holiday park in a tiny, tiny little village. And left that job and sort of went into what I'm doing now. I always say I used my 20s to do what I'm doing now. I was working towards what I'm doing now, but I had no idea I was working towards it. So after I left the holiday parks, I did pretty much every other job going, because I went into the world of acting and stuff like that, got myself an agent, which was great fun, but the work was slightly scarce, to be honest. It was sort of panto at Christmas, and then for the rest of the year I was whatever I was, workshop facilitator, postman, tour guide on an open top bus. Oddly, a cover teacher as well. Went back to teaching for a little bit, then thought, what am I doing here? And then I made more money working in an M&S, just as a customer service person than it was cover teaching. So I've done a fair few jobs, and obviously COVID came along, and that really made me hit the reset button, to be honest. I was doing sort of the acting stuff, and then I was like, oh, maybe there's something else I can do, and I created Page to Panto, which is my current little company I've got. Originally, it started off as pantomime scripts, and then it divulged into Dame Dolly, which is what I first started doing with the live act stuff. And basically got put in contact with my current cabaret agent called Mark. Absolutely brilliant. I owe him everything because he's got me so much work in the last 3 years and has really helped me do the career that I want to do. So yes, it started off Page to Panto because we had all those hours free, didn't we? So I created a website, did all that, thought nothing of it, sold a couple of scripts, and then I started doing the Dame Dolly show, which was originally called Dame Dolly Does. I did it the first place I did it was a tiny little studio theatre in a shopping centre in Camberley. I did that. That was the first one I did. That was October 2021, I think. And then it sort of built up from there. Did it in a few little theatres. And then it was 2023, so not that long ago, that I did my first Park Dean with Dame Dolly. I originally had 6 gigs booked in that year just to see if they liked it, basically, with Mark, with Leighton Dings. And then by the end of that year, I'd had 50 bookings for that show. And I also said to Mark, I said, I've got a comedy variety show called The Joe Show. I sort of did. I had an idea of what it would be. And then Mark rang me and went, I've booked in a few Joe shows. And I thought, I better put it all together then. So I did. And then The Joe Show came along as well. So, and then year after year, it's just sort of built. And I've just done that on the holiday parks, which has been great fun. And I've done my theatre shows as well. So last 5 Halloweens I've produced a Halloween show, but the last 4 have been Dame Dolly's Spooktacular. This year it's slightly different because it's Dame Dolly's Spooktacular Pirate Party, because I've done 3 years of the same show, because it started off as static in a theatre, then we toured it, and now it's a different show, because I like to do sort of I'll do 2 years of a show, and then I'll change the show basically. So I did 2 years on the holiday parks with Dame Dolly's one-person panto, which was Jack and the Beanstalk. And now I'm doing Dame Dolly's one-person panto, but it's Robinson Crusoe, because I wanted a pirate theme, and you can't use Peter Pan. So I thought, Robinson Crusoe, that'll do. Not a lot of people know the story, so you've got a lot of leverage there to just do what you want, really, which is great fun. But so I've got a few gigs coming up this week. I've got a Joe show and a Dame Dolly this week. I think I've got 3 Joe shows and 1 Dame Dolly this coming week, Tuesday through to Friday, and then next week's obviously half term, and it goes a bit mad. And I did a half term show in theatres as well in February called Dame Dolly's Half Term Havoc, which is coming back again next year in a couple of theatres. It's all good, but it's taken a lot. It's taken about 10 years to get to this point, to be perfectly honest.
So let's recap. You're a cabaret artist. Do you sing?
Yeah, I do sing in the Joe Show. It has some singing in it. It has a bit of everything. It has a bit of sketch comedy, a bit of singing, a bit of dancing. Not so much dancing from me, but people do dance. And to be honest,
so what type of comedy? What type of comedy do you do, Joe?
It's innate silliness. That's how I describe it. It's an hour of me messing about, really, and having fun. So it's a mixture of sketch comedy. It's audience participation, which everyone gets into eventually. Even on the off-peak weeks when I've got 6 tables, I still end up with 10 people on stage at one point in the Joe Show. And even in off-peak, I've always managed to get 10 people up on stage, which is amazing. Sometimes that's half the audience in off-peak. It's just innate silliness. That's how I describe it. Innate silliness, good fun for an hour with the Joe Show. And then Dame Dolly. Dame Dolly's a bit more structured because she's got a little bit of a story there. But again, it's still family entertainment, and it's heart, it's fun. And I think that's what it is. It needs to be fun and definitely not taken too seriously.
No, I take on board what you're saying. So very talented. Now, being the comedy field nowadays is very difficult to do. I've seen many a comedian, and even the comedians that I've had on here saying it's getting harder and harder. But I suppose yours is very unique because you say it's innate and it just involves silliness, which is not telling jokes probably, and waiting for the audience to react, which is, a challenging thing in itself. Do you dress up to look stupid, or do you just kind of like be yourself?
So obviously for Dame Dolly, I'm Dame Dolly, completely dressed up as a panto dame. But for the Joe Show, I put on a suit, funny enough. I go a bit old school with it. And I was talking to my mate who was one of my first entrance managers, Chris. He said, why the suit? I mean, to start off with, I have a sketch where it specifically mentions the suit. But because it gets sillier and sillier, but I'm dressed quite sensibly, I think it just adds to it, because it just gets more and more stupid. And also, I'm old school in the sense of I like to wear a suit when I'm going out to a crowd because they know you're the comedian sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, the suit did it did happen by accident, but I do like the fact that I'm in a suit. You go, that's the entertainer. He's the one in the suit. So I like that. I don't like jeans and t-shirt stuff like that. I like a bit of old school stuff, but that's just my persona, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, the suit sort of happened by.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with it, because you stand out more like you're presenting rather than just sat in the audience. Now, you live right down south. Do you mainly do most of your work down south, or do you travel up and down the country?
Oh, I go anywhere and everywhere. I was in Scotland a couple of weeks ago, then Isle of Wight before that. I'm in Wales. Next week, and then ironically, I am actually in Clacton gigging like the same week, so it's a great week. But the good thing is, when you get a gig that's that far away, you'll often have like 3 or 4 of them up there. So you'll do Scotland, but you'll do 3 or 4 gigs up there. I mean, actually, to be fair, in July I've got a whole week in Scotland where I start at the top near Inverness, but just work my way back down doing gigs, which is ideal, really. And I get to see a lot of the country as well, which is marvellous. So I've got me the English Heritage and National Trust passes, always handy.
And how long does it take you to drive from Clacton to Scotland?
Well, July, I'm going to be doing my longest drive of the season, which is 10.5 hours to get to just up near Inverness. But the good thing is, because I do so much driving now, when someone says, oh, it's just under 2 hours away, I think, great, it's around the corner. So when I do Great Yarmouth, I'll do that in a day and back, because it's only an hour and 40-minute drive from here. Which is nothing to me now, which is great. You know, I always go the rule of thumb: if it's over 4.5 hours, I'll stay the night. If it's less than that and it's just one gig, I'll drive back the same day. But I think if you're doing over 4.5 hours worth of driving, you need to have good kit the night before.
Most of your work, is it performed on an evening, or do you do afternoon?
So I've done evening and afternoon. So Joe's show is purely the evening, but Dame Dolly works in the afternoon, because Dame Dolly, I've had they did do off peaks on Sundays last year. It's mainly just peaks on Sundays this year. But the good thing with Dame Dolly is she works with one table. If I've got one kid, I can do it. And fun enough, when I first started doing it, I had this theatre, and I did Dame Dolly Does in this theatre in Wimbledon, Colour House. Lovely little theatre. And we had one show that we'd sold out, and then the show afterwards had one kid books on it. And manager of the theatre went, what do you want to do? And I went, well, you're here and I'm here. Let's just do the show. We said to the person before, we said, look, this probably isn't going to reach its normal 45 minutes to an hour because there's just one of you, but we're happy to go ahead with the show. Because I said, I'm already here in costume, you know, let's just do it. And we probably created a nice memory for that kid. People like, remember that time you had a pantomime dame all to yourself? So, yeah, sorry, I went off at a tangent. I will do that, by the way. I'll just waffle.
It's okay. And how long does it take you to get dressed up as Dame Dolly?
So, if I want to do it quickly, and like rush it, 17 minutes. I can have makeup on, dress done, everything in 17 minutes. But I do like to give myself about 40 minutes to an hour if I really want to relax and just make sure I'm ready for it. And that includes my vocal warm up and stuff like that as well. So when I do panto at Christmas, I do give myself that full hour, because I normally go in, get everything done, lay out all my makeup to start off with, know what I'm doing, and I don't have to rush around doing it. Because when I do panto at Christmas, I have to slick the whole hair back as well. Whereas when I'm on the parks, I've only got one wig that I wear. So it's just wig cap over whatever my hair's doing that day, because I don't have to take a wig on and off. Whereas when it's in panto season, I have to slick it back and put a wig cap over it, because wigs are coming on and off. And if your hair's all floppy and stuff like that, it's a nightmare if you're trying to take wigs on and off. So, yeah, so for the part, just have the hair as it is. And then.
So children's entertaining, what does that involve, Joe?
So children's entertaining it's really the Dame Dolly show. I've done the whole, like, you know, kids' birthday parties and stuff like that. But the Dame Dolly stuff is Dame Dolly's one-person panto. The premise of the whole show is she's turned up to do a show, but none of her friends have turned up. So all the kids and the grown-ups as well, and those young at heart, have got to help her do the show. So we have Dame Dolly's audition, which obviously they always pass. And then it goes into the story, but I get a kid up to play like the role of Robinson Crusoe. Like every now and then I get a different kid up to make sure I load them. But I always have a point in the show where I do a number where they can all join in. It's normally a really easy number. So for Jack and the Beanstalk, I don't know how I did it, but I put Baby Shark in. I just shoehorned it in. And then this year I went pirate themed. I thought, I could have had Baby Shark in that. But obviously I've done Baby Shark for 2 years. So it's the sailing song going this way, that way, forwards, backwards, over the rolling sea. But the reason why I do those ones is because I have every kid in the venue on stage. I say, right, at this point, any kid who wants to come on stage can come on stage, because there's kids that will want to come on stage, but they won't want to go on by themselves. And it gives every kid a chance to have that magic of going on stage on their holiday, you know. So, because some kids won't want to go up by themselves. And I always say in that moment as well, I say to parents as well, I say, if there's any grown-ups out there who've got a kid who's a bit nervous, who doesn't want to come up by themselves, if you bring your kid up, I won't pick on you. Because obviously the grown-ups think the dame's going to pick on them. And I do, but I think if they bring a kid up on stage, I will ignore them. They can bring their kid up and they can have a great time, because some of the grown-ups might want to come up because they'll think the dame's going to pick on them, which, you know, in any other case, I would. But I think when you're bringing your kid up because they're a bit nervous, I'm not going to say anything to you. But yeah, I like that moment because it gets every single kid involved. So I want to involve as many kids as possible in the show. And that moment's just a nice one to have every single kid on stage. And there's bits in the show as well where they all help out. Like they have to find the pirate jewels and stuff like that. So they have to run around the room, find all the coins and stuff like that. So it's very, very interactive. But I make sure every kid can be involved in it as much as possible.
Being an entertainer for children requires a certain kind of skill. And it sounds like you've got that skill. You've honed in on it. You've got it prepared, and the kids love it. Is that correct?
I would say I'd say they enjoy it. They certainly seem to look like they enjoy it. If they're not enjoying it, they're doing a good job of hiding it. Again,
But do you enjoy it?
oh, I love it. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's actually one of my best mates, Ash. He said to me, he said, "You can't do any other job," he said, "because you're just rubbish at normal jobs." So I like doing me. I like doing me kids entertaining. I like doing entertainment. If it's got a stage and a microphone, I'm there for it.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
you're what we would call in the business a born natural entertainer, yeah?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'd say born natural entertainer, but maybe I'm just being slightly reserved. I've always wanted to be on stage. I can remember being 3 years old. I watched a panto, 1993, and I saw the Dame, and even at 3, I went, "Oh, I want to do that when I'm older." So it's just sort of stuck,
That's
even with the
amazing.
times where I thought, "Oh, I'll just go into teaching and stuff like that," because it is a difficult industry to get yourself into and make a living out of. Like I said, it's taken me 10 years to get to this point. People don't see the work beforehand.
Well, I've got me set, Ed. I'm a professional teacher. And in the UK, I found it the latter years to be more challenging now to be
Yeah.
a teacher. It's not enjoyable anymore. The kids, it was a stage where you was the teacher and the kids listened and learned. Now with the kids, you've got to listen to the kids when they're telling you, it's just changed completely. So I understand you getting out the education business because it's not as enjoyable as what it was. I retired and moved to Thailand. I still teach out here, but I only teach corporate business, because I had my own business and I'm experienced in that field. But, the entertainment business, I've been doing it for 45 years myself. I've been everywhere, done everything. I haven't been a children's entertainer, but I know how difficult it is, Joe, to be a children's entertainer. Not everybody can do it at all.
Yeah, well, the thing
You
with
know?
kids is they will just give you their unfiltered, honest opinion, which is great.
Yes.
If a kid's bored, they'll just tell you they're bored and they'll walk off. Whereas adults
Yeah.
can be slightly more reserved with their opinion, but kids will not be. They will tell you. You will know if you're rubbish when you're entertaining kids because they'll just tell you.
Somebody's told
Not
you,
as
oh, I'm
of
blowing
yet,
them
but
off.
I know how blunt kids can be. For instance, my niece, when she was 3,
Yeah.
I'd put on a bit of weight. She just walked straight up to me, poked me in the stomach, and went belly. So it's kids are brutal. Like they'll tell you how it is.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? I mean, kids are so innocent, that we've got to entertain them like that, like they're innocent because they don't understand sometimes, they might, like you said, you had a bit of a belly and said
Yeah,
belly, or some people would say you're fat,
yeah.
They don't understand. They're too naive, but
Oh yeah.
some people could take offense to that,
No,
quite easily.
kids are great when you get them up. The material you get out of them when they're talking on the mic sometimes is, it's better than the show.
Yeah. So you travel up and down the country. Do you only work through an agent or do you take your own personal booking?
So I mostly work for an agent. I get some of my own bookings. Obviously, all the theatre stuff is my own. Normally, there's 2 or 3 parks in the year that I'll get myself. But normally, like I say, I owe everything to Mark because at Leighton Dings they get me all of my bookings through the year. So if it
Yeah,
weren't for them,
I
I wouldn't
understand.
be doing it. And they work very hard for me.
And do you find that I think working through an agent is more professional anyway because they've taken
Oh yeah.
care of everything.
Oh yeah.
Do you do private kids parties like with balloon modelling and things like that?
Yeah, I have done in the past. Funnily enough, oddly, I've done birthday parties as Dame Dolly. I've done them as myself as well. I'm not skilled enough to be doing balloon modelling, though, unfortunately. But I do all the old school stuff. Kids are kids. They've always been kids. So I'll do pass the parcel, musical statues, all the games that you would have done as a child, but they still work, and I still give it a bit of the old Superman, Agadoo. They love all that stuff. So kids are always going to be kids. So a kids party for me it's very easy, and it is something I enjoy doing, but it's not something I do a lot now because I do more of the gigging than anything else, to be honest.
Where's your favourite venue?
Oh, favourite venue. So for nostalgia, it's Craig Tara and Burnham because I spent a few years both of those parks. Fun enough, I'm gigging at Burnham in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, I'd say they're my favourite. Halfpenny Moor's got a fantastic stage as well because a few years ago I did a show called Spells, which toured around a few havens, and we got the Welsh tour, which funnily enough had Burnham in it as well, and we got to play Halfpenny Moor because Halfpenny Moor is an old Butlins. I think it's an old Butlins anyway. I'm sure someone will correct me, but the stage is massive there, and it's brilliant. But saying that though, for the Joe show, sometimes it's the smaller parks that work really, really well. So there's one up in Wivensea. I always have a great gig there, but it's very intimate. But I always have a great gig there, and sometimes that works really well for the Joe show. Caton Bay is a great venue to play as well. Treco in Wales. There's so many. To be honest, there's so many. There's not many that you wouldn't like, to be honest, because every venue will give you a different audience depending on where you are in the country. Also, sometimes depending on the size of the venue. It's brilliant. So I've gone off at a tangent again, but I don't know if I've necessarily.
Well, it's okay. My hometown is Hull, so when you mention Withensea, it's not so far from Hull.
There you go. Yeah, no, Withensea is a lovely little venue. Like it's tiny. To the point, like their backstage is essentially a cupboard. I did a Dame Dolly there a couple of weeks ago, and getting changed there as Dame Dolly. I mean, the team were so accommodating; they were great. But you've literally got a cupboard, and sometimes you've got a cupboard to get changed in. And that doesn't bother me at all, to be perfectly honest. As long as I've got somewhere to get changed, it's fine. When it's a Joe show, it's a bit easier because it's just suit on stage. Whereas as soon as I'm in all the makeup and the gear for Dame Dolly, that's it. I can't leave backstage until I go on stage. So I made sure with Withensea, I got ready 40 minutes before I got on. So I was definitely I wasn't waiting in there backstage too much because obviously I'm in their way as well, So I had to wait there and then just walk on, which was great fun.
So out of the three, Dame Dolly, the Joe show, and the kids entertaining, which do you enjoy doing the most?
I enjoy them all, to be honest. I do because I do a good mixture of the Joe show and Dame Dolly. They're two fairly different shows, to be honest. I mean, they're still me mucking about for an hour, and sometimes I stand there, I can't believe someone's paying me to do this. This is insane. It's great fun, and obviously, I've got Panto at Christmas as well. Pantomime is my favourite thing. It's fantastic. I think I've got there's a few pictures up on the wall there of me Pantos and stuff like that. But to be honest, I just like performing. If it's got a stage and a microphone, I'm happy,
Well, for those people watching and those people who want to get into the business, are starting out and things like that, what advice would you give to people, Joe?
So, fun enough, I always usually do a talk in a local school when I'm at Panto in Maidstone, and I say the same thing to any kid who wants to get into the industry. First of all, I'm honest with them, and I say it's really, really tough. You'll probably spend part of your life being poor. For a certain amount of your life, you'll do every other job imaginable. And sometimes you'll do a job you don't like for about 80% of the year to do 20% of the year with a job you do like. I've been very fortunate in the last 3 years where it's just now got to the point where it's all jobs. But the other thing is as well, it could all drop off. If the holiday parks close or they decide they want to go something different, it all ends. And I have to go back to doing postman or whatever job I was doing beforehand. So I always say to them, it's a tough industry. I don't lie to them. I say it's the best industry in the world, but it's the toughest industry in the world. And it is so much fun. Being creative and stuff like that. And another thing I always say to people is, and I wish someone had told me this when I was younger as well, never put your ego before your bank balance. Because there was a few things where it wasn't particularly well paid. But then again, I didn't have a lot of experience, so I still did it. It's know your worth, really. So sometimes I have to look at a project and I go, right, is that going to benefit me financially? Because that's the other thing as well. It is show business. It's a business at the end of the day, and you've got to make money doing it. If you're going to be out of pocket, don't do it. It's as simple as that. Again, don't put your ego before your bank balance. I think that's a great little phrase that I say to the kids. Yeah. Don't put your bank balance. Don't put your ego before your bank balance.
Would you like to do some TV work?
I wouldn't mind. The only TV work I've ever done was for the Discovery Channel it must have been about 12, 13, 14 years ago. I was a big green alien on the Discovery Channel. That is as far as my television work goes at the moment, I think. And also I've done a little bit of presenting, nothing mainstream sort of thing. So I've done a few bits and bobs. I've got a presenting show reel and stuff like that because I do a bit of presenting in the year as well. But yeah, I'd love to do a bit of telly work. Funnily enough, the biggest audition I had was years ago. It was me and my mate, Dan. We call him Little Dan because he is 5'3". But we had an audition for Swashbuckle on CBeebies years ago. And if we'd got that, we'd be famous now. But we didn't get it. I think it's potentially because we were the wrong heights because the people they cast in the end were both well over 6 foot. I mean, I'm 6'1", but he's 5'3". They cast two blokes who are about 6'4", 6'5", against this tiny little pirates. Obviously, they just wanted two tall blokes that were funny. So I'd like to think we didn't get it because of our heights, not because of our talent. Hopefully.
Good. Yeah. So what does the future hold for Joe?
So this is the thing with the entertainment industry. You sort of plan as much as you can, but I couldn't 100% tell you what I'm going to be doing in 10 years' time. But I know the cabaret act thing is fairly permanent, hopefully, for the next however long that's going to last. Panto, obviously Panto every year. I mean, I'm happy doing what I'm doing at the moment. There's a few other bits that I'm working on at the moment, like producing a few things in theatres and stuff like that. So the producing is more I'll get, because as I get older and older, there'll be a point where you go, actually, I'm too old to be doing this now because I'm 70. But I would like to think I would do Dame forever until my last breath. I even know how I want to go. I want to do Panto at Christmas. I'm doing it, and the last thing I hear is applause and laughter. I go, I'm just going for a nap in my dressing room. Bang, that's it, gone. That's how I want to go.
Wow.
When I'm like 90 odd, and they're like, I can't believe they're still willing. I'll probably play in a Baron at that point, I'd imagine, a slightly smaller role. But I'd like to go like that. Like a few of the greats have gone, just backstage.
So basically, you like dressing up as a woman, putting your makeup on, and that makes you happy.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Being a dame makes me very, very happy. It's a very silly thing. And also, there's not a lot, and I'm 35 now, and I'm probably one of the younger dames. I think I can count on one hand how many dames are in their 20s, and there's a couple of really good ones out there. But we need more men coming in doing panto, being a pantomime dame,
Well, Joe, there seems to be many, many, many men now doing the Miss Fanny or Miss Robot or something like that. Dressing up as a woman and doing the club scene. What's the word for it? I forget now. Drag. Yeah. There seems to be an awful lot lately. I keep looking on Facebook and adding people, and I seem to be, adding 2 or 3 a day. It's ridiculous. It seems to be the in thing to be done at the moment. Drag.
Oh yeah, I think it's become.
So maybe you've hit on something big.
Yeah, I mean it's very popular with RuPaul's Drag Race, but I always say so. Pantomime, dame, and drag are sort of they're the same, but they're not. They're similar art forms, so they're sort of like, if they were related, they'd be cousins. Because a drag artist for me is very much, oh my god, I cannot believe that's a man, whereas a dame is, that's definitely a bloke in a dress. And that's really the difference for me between dame and drag. But yeah, I mean, and there's sort of drag coming into panto now as well, which is great. I'm all for, because pantomime's always changing, it's always updating. So yeah, I mean, it's something I enjoy anyway.
Well, thanks for explaining that. I'm sure the viewers will understand the difference between drag and panto. So, on behalf of myself on the showcase, I do hope you've enjoyed this chat with Joe. It's gone very, very fast. Joe Meloy lives down south. If you want to book him, how do people book you, Joe?
So get in touch with Leighton Dings, with Mark Leighton. If you get in touch with him, he'll sort you out. If you want to book one of my shows in your theatres, you can go onto my website, pagetopanto.com. You can find me on Instagram at JoeShow1990. You can find me on Facebook as well with Page to Panto. If you type my name in Google, Joe Meloy, Meloy, it all comes up because I've got a very distinctive last name, which is always great.
It is, you're right there. Well, if you send me the material, we'll put that on here, Joe.
Yeah, perfect.
So people can see clearly how to book you. So, thank you very much indeed. I hope the viewers really enjoy this. It's been a very interesting chat with Joe. First one we've done with somebody who dresses up as a dame and does children's entertainment and comedy and all the rest of it. So it's really good, Joe. Thank you very much indeed. You're a very talented man.
Oh,
Last word from you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great.
Keep doing what you're doing. Entertaining is the spice of life. Making people happy is one of the better things in life, because life nowadays can be very miserable. So well done, Joe. Keep it up. Thank you very much.